Scarpia's murder, Tosca leaps to her death in the tragic finale. Tosca's last cry is, "Scarpia, we meet before God." Well, we didn't meet before God. We met in London, where the first prima donna I visited was Dame Eva Turner, a living legend of the English operatic stage, who, at 91, still teaches.
It's like the old days to see you here. And you know, it brings back so many memories. I remember being here for a season in English in 1920 with the Royal Carl Rosa Opera Company when I was the prima donna of that. You know, we called prima donna PDs, pay on delivery. And I had really wonderful days. We traveled wardrobe trunks, baskets, and so on, and we paid that out of our salaries, which were rather nominal in those days, really.
When did you sing Tosca in your career? How long did you
I was quite young with the Carl Rosa Opera Company. I must have been about 22 or 23. I loved it.
It was a complete role.
Я думаю, что это про любую женщину. Каждая женщина может найти для себя там откровение и свое естество женское.
She's passionate, she's in love with this man, she kills for the man.
Jealous, like Otello, maybe more than Otello.
So much in love, you know, and so dedicated.
Then he's so religious, and she is in love with Mario.
She believed on her Mario and on her God and on her life, for together or nothing.
It's the only opera about the prima donna, I know, but I never felt Tosca is a great prima donna. It's a wonderful, passionate
Human being.
human being.
Yes. Wonderful. Do you feel that you and Floria Tosca are similar in many ways? You know, that she sang...
In many ways, because a prima donna, of course, another prima donna.
She lived for her art, we see Dante
Yes,
for art, and for her
exactly,
love.
exactly,
Do you feel that you have in your life?
Oh, yes. I really loved it so much that I wanted to do it above everything, to sing above all. To achieve, it means so much application, perspiration, and so on, matching tones. I don't know if people realize that the singer is the only one in the avenue of applied music whose instrument comes from the subconscious forces. Their instrument is not visual, and therefore the singer, he or she, has to work enormously to get the absolute control of their person and to bring about l'impostazione davanti, which is, of course, the forward placement and the matching of tones, and then making the words pregnant with meaning and becoming so involved.
Besides the wonderful Toscas that you've done, we all know about
Yes.
your Turandot.
Oh, well, I remember being at the Scala when it was being done. You see, I went to the Scala in 1924, and as you know, it was first performed in 1926. And I was asked to get a score, and then I sang it all over. But you know, we did, wherever we sang it for the first time, there was always observed the 2 minutes silence at the point where the pen fell from the hand of Puccini.
The great pity was that the composer's pen had become silent just as his genius brightened and burst to new creative heights during the writing of his last and perhaps greatest opera. The world mourned his passing. It was the end of a tradition. Puccini was born of a musical family in 1858. He struggled until he was 35, and then with the premiere of Manosco in 1893, everything he touched turned to gold. The elegant, dapper Puccini had three great passions in life: hunting, women, and music. He combined his fascination for women and music by creating some of the finest prima donna roles ever written for opera. and satisfied his passion for hunting at his beautiful villa, Torre del Lago. As shown in these rare films, Puccini's success allowed him to spend time at what he called his paradise, where he savored the woods and water that surrounded him and secluded himself for work. Eva Turner's successor in the role of Turandot was Italian soprano Gina Cigna.
I understand it's an award that was given to
They
you.
gave me 2 years ago this statue because they told I was the best, excuse me if I speak about myself, I was the most beautiful Turandot in the world. I finished my, you know, and I take this prize. I'm very, very proud, really. I sang 500 times.
500.
Turandot in all the world. You know, I don't sing for a long time now, but when I hear Turandot, I have something here who makes me very bad. The first time I was at opera, I said, I want to come to be a singer. And I started to study, and I found Madame Emma Calvé, the famous Emma Calvé.
Calvé took her 23-year-old pupil Gina Cigna to audition for Toscanini, then the musical director of La Scala. Arturo Toscanini, born in 1867, influenced the musical world of the 20th century more than any other conductor. From the premiere of La Bohème, which he conducted, Toscanini became a devoted friend to the elegant Puccini and an ardent champion of his music. Toscanini's great love was always the Italian opera, and throughout his long career, he supported new singers.
When I had the last audition with Toscanini, I was dead. Like this. Said, well, sing now Cieli Azzurri.
From Aida.
Cieli Azzurri, my throat was totally closed.
Nervous.
And I see so far away, but they thought, he can't hear me. I start, oh, Cieli. He stopped me, said, I'm not this. Non sono sordo.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, this was the first impression. It was not very good, the first impression. Well, anyway, I sang this, I sang Norma, and I entered on the Scala for the first time.
That was in 1927.
I sang Tosca. You are here for Tosca. But, you know, I studied Tosca with the creatrice of Tosca, Madame Darclay. Toscanini sent me to Madame Darclay to study Tosca. I think she was a little in love with
Darclay was in love with Puccini?
Yes.
Do you think he tailored the role for Madame Darclay?
Puccini writes Visidarte for Madame Darclay. Certain moment I said, but why this romance is so difficult? Because you know the role of from Scarpia and Tosca. You rush. When you have to start a Visidarte, you have no breath. And he said, yes, I know, but I want this. You, Madame Darclay. Yes, me.
So Puccini wrote Visidarte at Darclay's insistence.
Yes, we speak about Puccini, always. I have a character like Tosca. I have the possibility to enter in this personality.
Io penso che il sentire il personaggio sia un poco un dono, cioè si nasce.
This is it, absolutely being the personage or living it.
I try to go under the skin of the role I'm doing.
And you every day have to feel that this personage become a part of yourself. It's just like a mama when she prepares, a baby.
If you don't do this, you are not artist. You know how much years on? I am 83 years old.
Gina Cigna, with a repertory of over 70 operas, had her all too brief career of 20 years cut off at the height of her powers.
I had a heart attack because I have accident of car. Terrible accident of car. And I was to sing Tosca in Vicenza when I had this terrible accident. And this make me, because I accept to sing Tosca, and after I was very, very, very sick, because I effort to sing with after this accident make me very badly, you know. And I stopped my career in 47. In fact, yes, I was in my bed for 43 days. And after the professor said, Madame Cigna, for you is finished. Life.
Io ho dei ricordi bellissimi della Cina Cigna, perché la conobbi al Teatro alla Scala, quando io ero proprio i primissimi passi della mia carriera.
What inspired you to sing Tosca?
Io ho cantato tutte le opere di Puccini e l'ultima fu Tosca in ordine di tempo, perché, ripeto, era un personaggio per me difficile da capire, da entrare dentro a questo personaggio.
One has to be ready, and it's only then that one should sing. Youngsters should never sing Tosca. You should grow into that role.
I overacted it. Absolutely. Who wouldn't? Everybody does it, I think, at the beginning. It tempts you.
Я глубоко убеждена, что никогда молодая певица, начинающая, не смеет петь Тоску.
Tosca is a woman, and I didn't think I could do this part with authority.
I was very young when I sang Tosca. I was much too young.
I was too young and didn't have all the experiences that life brings to you.
Questa donna che non riuscivo ad afferrare, quali erano i suoi sentimenti, il suo amore, la sua passione, questa forma di bigotteria che aveva, era lontana da me. E io ho tentato di avvicinarlo finché un giorno improvvisamente ho capito il personaggio. Differenze indubbiamente ci sono, perché ogni creatura è fatta a suo modo. Io in Tosca posso avere dei contatti umani, cioè saper amare, saper soffrire così come Tosca ha amato e ha sofferto. Tutta la mia carriera è stata una sofferenza, perché ogni recita, anche di personaggi, anche di opere che io avevo eseguito molte volte, per me ogni volta era una prima, come se io la cantassi per la prima volta.
Distinguished as much for her acting as for her singing, Olivero is still performing at 70. She has sung only prima donna roles for over 50 years.
You made a sacrifice, Madame Olivero. When you married, you stopped your career. Why did you feel you had to stop singing?
Io credo che quando si ha la fortuna
The recent tragic death of her husband, for the love of whom she stopped singing for 10 years, perhaps ends a remarkable career.
La decisione di lasciare la carriera è stata molto semplice. Io aspettavo un bambino, poi purtroppo la maternità è stata interrotta. Questa è la semplice ragione, perché su questi miei 10 anni di silenzio sono state fatte tante illazioni. ma le cose più strane sono state dette, e talune anche molto ridicole. Invece è questo, perché aspettavo un bambino e poi c'era la guerra.
Religion has played such an important part in your life in dealing with tragedies. Did that help you with the role of Tosca?
C'è una differenza fra Floria Tosca e me in fatto di religione. Floria Tosca era bigotta.
I don't think she was really very, very religious and very... No, she was going to church, first of all, because everybody was going to church.
Of course it's religious. Yes, yes.
Yeah, she was really religious, but I know what Tosca feels in her
In her heart.
heart.
Io non sono bigotta, ma ho una grande fede e anzi questa mia grande fede io la traduco in canto. Quando sono in palcoscenico, ogni suono per me è sempre un miracolo di Dio.
Tosca was a religious woman, very religious, was educated with nuns like I was too.
70-year-old Licia Albanese made her career in America as a major soprano at the Met for over a quarter of a century. A Toscanini favorite, he chose her from many broadcasts and recordings. Where did you first sing Tosca?
On the Met.
That was your first performance. You didn't do it
The
in a
Met.
small theater? My.
Well, they asked me.
Wasn't that difficult,
Listen,
Licia, to
this
do
is
your
a
first
good story.
performance at the
This is
Met?
a good story. No. This is a good story. I want to tell you. That's nice you came out, because sometimes I forget. I was here, and they promised me Tosca. Right? So one day, Maestro Max Rudolph called here, and I was preparing myself to go to Italy. And they called up and said, Licia, you know, here, and they find out so many things. The Tosca, I don't think it's an opera for you, and so on, but they gave me the word. Well, I said, Maestro, listen, did you give this Tosca somebody else? Tell me the truth. If you give this Tosca somebody else, I'll be standby, all right? After a month, a call from Rudolph. So I said, you're going to give, you have your Tosca. Can you do Tosca without rehearsal, without the orchestra rehearsal? I said, certainly, why not? And I did. I always react in the opera with such an affection, with love, because I was singing with the same people for so many years, with you, with Pierce, with Pinzer. We fell in love on that stage. It's true. And I was very pleased to go away from home, because I loved to be, to sing, and then to be on the stage, to be with my colleagues, and to sacrifice myself. If they want a great career like Tosca had, have to make a lot of sacrifice. In so many ways, we cannot go in particular things, because you have to sacrifice everything, in food, eating, and sleeping most of the time, and studying all the time, studying, 3-4 hours a day.
You have to study, study, study all your life, you know.
I live a very disciplined life. One has to do that. I seldom go to parties.
If I don't see trees once a day, I start going very crazy. And working in rehearsal rooms without windows just about kills me.
You have to be very careful if the weather is not good like today. So you have to stay home and don't go to sleep very early and say no if somebody invited you to go to some party.
2 days beforehand, before an important opera, I don't talk. I don't eat certain foods. I don't drink any alcohol. My voice is for me so important that I don't even dare think about drinking any kind of wine or anything like that. You've got to have all your wits about you. And I can only do that if I know that this little mechanism here is working at its very greatest capacity. And I leave nothing, no stone unturned. No stone.
And when you do something that you like very much, there is no sacrifice at all, because everything is good for you.
When you're an artist, a soprano has high notes, that's easy. And that was easy for me, because my high notes are still there, and then and I love to sing on the high notes. The high notes is much better to stand up and do it, and then to walk in the front of the public. This is theater, which the public wants this. If you sing in the back, they stay there, nothing comes to us. But I used to walk slowly and say, perché signor.
It's not like it was in earlier days, you know, as long as you had 3 gestures, 1 hand, 2 hands, and 1 up, it was enough. And then you went down to the prompter box and stand there so the people would hear you. No one is no one can accept that anymore.
It was another generation. We play theater now. Our generation, my generation, we play others theater, you know. We don't think only and stay like that. We act, we live, we fell down, it is each minute life there.
I want to tell you, the first one who really influenced me, now I remember, was Yaritza, Maria. She impressed me very much. First of all, the costumes. And she was a beauty, and she was tall, and she was the really Tosca for me.
Puccini himself coached the remarkable Maria Yaritza for the Vienna premiere of Tosca in 1909. Yaritza is one of the legends of opera.
Maria Yaritza was a great personality. I was a student here. She sang Tosca and Salome, and I went each evening to see her. I came to New York, and in the first season I didn't meet her. But on the second year when I sang Tosca, she came. And she sat always in the first row with such a great hat, you know. She was a fantastic looking woman. And when I came to bow it, I always bowed me like that to her. She was very sweet.
Luba Valic, the brilliant Viennese opera star, dominated the world stages in the 1940s and 50s. Not only her voice, but her magnetism and flamboyance electrified roles like Tosca, which she first performed in Vienna.
And Tosca was such a sensation. Then I went then to London with Tosca. I learned Tosca in Italian, I learned Tosca in German, I learned Tosca in English for England, for Covent Garden, and so I came to America with Tosca too later. You see, my dear, I sang Tosca in many theaters, so I didn't have time as guest singer to have a long time for rehearsals. So I came on the stage before the performance sometime, half an hour. Nobody was in theater, and I saw, there you go, there you died, there you kill him, and there you jump. And so it's already in my fantasy, in my body.
Очень любит писать всегда, он вообще любит, кто вошел, кто вышел, как посмотрела, как побледнела, у него это очень много.
I think that standby, it's very dangerous for singers if they do that constantly.
Very nervous.
Because you never get the rehearsals, you know.
I was always called the emergency girl because Mr. Adler would call me and say, Dorothy, can you come up and sing tomorrow? What, Tosca? Oh, the opening, oh, Tosca, okay, sure, I'll be there. And I was always here. And I love that. That's the time I love it best, is when it's really an emergency, because I think that gets the adrenaline going like nothing else.
And Luba, we also sang another role together, another opera together.
Which, my dear?
In Bohème. I was Marcello and you were Musetta. And that wonderful evening where something happened, Mr. Bing became very angry.
I was very naughty, Musetta, they said in the paper, you know.
Well, what happened?
I don't know what happened. It was temperament and sensational. Everything was fantastic.
They said that you didn't dress completely. You left out one of your garments.
Maybe I don't remember anymore, but it was fantastic performance.
I know that some of the musicians in the first row, when I picked you up and after the big scene, the two violinists almost fainted and the prompter.
Oh, that's all right. Why? That's live. That's live.
They saw something that I don't know what.
It was exciting.
It was exciting for us.
I don't remember any more exciting Musetta like that, especially when I say that. But in London, I stopped the show. My father didn't like it. I should be saying it because singer is not a beruf, how they not profession, you know.
Yeah, it's not a profession.
No, so I finished gymnasium and I went to Sofia and I went to the director and she said, I'm singer. I was 18 years old. I am singer, I want to be engaged. And he asked me, can you sing? I said, of course I can sing. I sang to him and he engaged me, and so started my life through Vienna and all the world.
And the greatest Salome, by the way, that I've ever seen.
Sometime I think it's maybe good that I don't sing anymore. But I did much work after I stopped to singing. I made 75 movies in Deutschland, in England, and almost 35 TV plays as actor, and it was a fantastic time. I learned it very much too. Another branch,
another aspect of our business.
That's right. That's right. I had private always unluck. With my husbands, Carlos had always rich, tremendous rich men as our husbands. Yes. I had always poor husbands, poor boys. They were nothing. They didn't have nothing. So that's the difference between me and Carlos. And I had not luck with my private life because, you see, I had to travel there and there, to London, to Neapel, to America, South America, my recitals and so on. Who waits? Nobody waits. And now I have my Bobelina and I'm very happy now.
I think one of the greatest Oscars, I can really say, next to the very exciting Callas and the very heavenly singing Tebaldi, was for me in Vienna when I was a student, Luba Village.
Leonie Rieseneck has joined the ranks of the great Viennese TOSCA'S, Jeritza and Velic.
I always liked her, Tosca, very much. She was like me, running and very nervous, very vibrant. And there's another thing about Tosca. Maybe I'm wrong. I always had the feeling Tosca had to be a little bit older than Cavaradossi.
Yeah.
A little bit. So her extreme jealousy would be very logical then, or let's see, more logical than she is extremely jealous.
And I feel the same atmosphere, because really I'm very jealous.
She's jealous, And, but not with exaggeration.
My Tosca was never a Tosca mad, jealous. No, with a smile.
Because she is a lady from the stage.
That's what I thought in my role in Tosca. He's a great lady.
Some singers sing, the Scarpia throws her on the floor or something, you know, she throws herself on the floor. I didn't like that, ever.
But in the violence of the attempted rape, Scarpia may throw her on the floor.
I think that Tosca is a great lady, you know, and she's not supposed to be on the floor.
I always